प्रोफाइल सेट करिए, ऑडियो चेक करे हो वीडियो 185 चल कही दे फॉर्मेट थी कही दे समझ करो આગલા દાડમાં શીખી જવાનું અમારું ઓલરેડી થઈ ગયું છે આગળ
on Industrial, Urban and Electronic Waste Management 2021. I, Alpa Rawal, welcome you all on behalf of Saket Projects Limited in this conference. This event has been organized by Saket Projects Limited, a multidisciplinary company involved in creating knowledge-based platform through various activities such as conferences, publication, exhibitions, etc. Saket designs and develops conferences aimed at specific target audience to provide them strategic and timely information on policy initiatives, enhanced business processes, technologies, networking opportunities, etc. The company, with a continued forward-thinking approach, has successfully organized a plethora of events on diverse themes with specialization in industry-specific events. I would like to thank our sponsors. Our sponsors for this conference are Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation, UPL Open AG, Excel Industries Limited, Bharuch Enviro Infrastructure Limited, Narmada Clean Tech Limited, the Green Environment Service Cooperative Society Ahmedabad, Rajkot Municipal Corporation, Gujarat Industrial Development Corporation and Vadodara Municipal Corporation. Our prime supporters for this conference is Gujarat Pollution Control Board. The conference has been supported by various other associations, namely National Solid Waste Association of India, Gujarat Paper Mills Association, Vapi Industries Association, Sarigam Industries Association, Umargam Industries Association and Naroda Enviro Projects Limited. Talking about the subject of today, waste management. This subject has become a very crucial subject in the past few years, wherein we have addressed various industrial and waste management related issues, but we have not received any fruitful effects so far. Along with other social and global issues, industrial waste management has become a critical issue. It is anticipated by researchers that by the year 2050, waste shall increase by 436 million metric tons, which is indeed a substantial subject to issue. If these waste are not reduced, rather organized, we may invite a catastrophe. Hence, it is highly important that each one of us would lead ourselves towards sustainable waste management. We hope this conference would lead us to a sustainable growth and a pathway for the waste management. And with this background, I would like to invite all our esteemed dignitaries to come upon the dais and occupy their chairs. I request Shri Dharmendra Bhai Joshi, our conference convener, to escort all the dignitaries. I request Shri A.D. Shah, Member Secretary, Gujarat Pollution Control Board, and Shri P.U. Asnani, Chairman, Urban Management Consultants, to come upon the dais and occupy their chairs. Due to COVID regime and following the protocol of COVID, we are not welcoming them with florals, but we wholeheartedly welcome them. A huge round of applause for our dignitaries. I'd like to introduce Shri A.V. Shah. He currently holds the position of a member secretary at the Gujarat Pollution Control Board. He has more than 30 years of experience in the field of prevention and control of pollution, appraising Indian environment laws. Having joined GPCB after graduation in civil engineering, he has performed duties in almost all disciplines at various levels, including regulating environmental laws, including inspection, decision making on application for consents, grievance redressal, coordination with district administration for various tasks including public hearing, head of general administration, head of accounts, taking effective steps for control of pollution in the region including as regional officer. He has received various awards as team member of GPCB for its prestigious e-governance portal XGN and also represented GPCB in various committees at CPCB. I would like to introduce Shri P.U. Asnani. Mr. Asnani is the chairman of Urban Management Consultants, UMC Global. He is country's renowned expert on urban governance and an international expert on solid waste management. Working in the urban and rural sector for over 35 years, he is currently in the Central Monitoring Committee of Ministry of Environment to oversee the implementation of SWM Rules 2016 and on the Expert Committee of Ministry of Urban Development to evaluate and recommend appropriate and sustainable technologies for processing of solid and liquid waste. We welcome both of you, sir. Thank you so much for coming in this COVID era. Now, before we start with the session, I request all of you sitting in the audience to kindly put your phone on silent mode so that we can carry out the session smoothly. I request our...
Someone has rightly said, environment conservation is a state of harmony between man and land. And it is our collective and individual responsibility to preserve and tend to the world we live in. Someone also pointed out the environment and the economy are two sides of the same coin. If we cannot sustain the environment, we cannot sustain ourselves. Guest of honor of the day, Shri P.U. Asnani, Chairman Urban Management Consultants. Guest of honor in absentia, Shri Shailesh Bhai Patwari, Chairman Naroda Enviro Project Limited and past President of GCC. At this moment of time, I acknowledge his virtual presence in the sense that he messaged me and called me late in the night yesterday at 10:30 that the issue of Sabarmati river pollution that has a suo motu in the Gujarat High Court, and he was asked by the committee urgently to represent the issues of pollution before the High Court, and he had to be present in the High Court at this particular time till about 12:30, and he expressed his inability to attend the inaugural session. So we, considering that he is also in the field representing waste management, pollution, environment conservation, we accept his virtual presence here. Shri Anil V. Shah, Member Secretary, Gujarat Pollution Control Board, our esteemed speakers of the day, officers from the Gujarat Pollution Control Board, delegates from the industries all over Gujarat, sponsors, advertisers, other invitees, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning and a very warm welcome to all of you today at the outset of this very, very crucial and purposeful 10th National Conference on Urban Waste Management. It is just about Diwali. Festivities will soon change the mood of the country. And we will read news lines saying, these many crores of rupees were blown up in smoke. पटाखे हम फोड़ेंगे और आएगा न्यूज़पेपर में कितना ज़्यादा pollution हो गया. So what a right time to host this conference. But the question I would pose is, can't we have firecrackers without smoke? Can't we have festivities without pollution? And on the same lines, can't we have industrial development without harming the earth? We are happy to be a part of this long-fought war between the environmentalists and the industrial development crusaders. While in the name of heritage conservation, one can't preserve every bullock cart for ages. One can't preserve every bullock cart for ages. We are torn between the idea of industrial development with environment disruption as a package and the need to preserve the earth for our future generations to give us all that is necessary for our existence on this earth. So instead of a war, all stakeholders here have to see this as an effort to strike a balance between man and land. A slight change in our stance, an added concern in our heart, and a persistent dedication to the cause of environment preservation will change the world for the better. I very much believe change has taken place. Industrialists are no longer in the "we don't care" attitude. There have been concrete efforts with good intentions. On the other hand, the government has also changed its approach from being an inspector to a doctor, and we must appreciate that. People are also now slowly identifying the opportunists who have only in their vested interests made environmental protests their business. In these times of the circular economy, since the Industrial Revolution, humankind has been following a linear model of production and consumption. Raw materials have been transformed into goods that are afterwards sold, used and turned into waste that has been many times unconsciously discarded and managed. On the opposite, the circular economy is an industrial model that is regenerative by intention and design and aims to improve the resources performance and fight the volatility that climate change might bring to its business. It has benefits that are operational as well as strategic, and it brings together a huge potential for value creation within the economical, business, environmental and the societal purposes. By organizing these waste management conferences, we aim at providing a platform to be a part of the solution rather than be a part of the pollution. With a serious intention, we try to bring all stakeholders together and are always patronized by the Gujarat Pollution Control Board with wholehearted support. I take this opportunity to express my gratitude to the GPCB for being a prime supporter in this conference. I take this opportunity to welcome you all once again and thank all our sponsors, advertisers and all the esteemed guests, including the speakers, who have taken time and effort to share their knowledge with the delegates. With different sessions on industrial hazardous waste, e-waste, urban waste management and plastic waste management, I am sure we will have great deliberations during the day. It is good to see all stakeholders coming together. At the end of the day, let us go back with added understanding and sensitivity and enhanced dedication to make this world a better place to live. Thank you very much, and once again, welcome everyone. Thank you.
So well put, we should be a part of solution and not Shah sir on the podium to deliver his special address.
Good morning to all who are here on the invitation of the Saket from all the corners of the Gujarat and gathering for the first time in such a gathering in an environmental management event after the COVID. Because of the COVID, we didn't able to organize any such event in the last 2 years. Dignitaries on the dais, Dharmendra Bhai, Asnani Sahib, and participants. Here we are for the waste management. This Saket is organizing this seminar since several years, and every year they are training, they are delivering the knowledge, and we are people who are in the field of the environment are delivering their knowledge and sharing their ideas. If we talk about the waste management, particularly during the COVID, everybody was saying that જીવન જીવતા શીખવાડી દીધું બધાને કોવિડે. પૈસાનું મહત્વ સમજાવી દીધું. બધા પાસે પૈસા હોય પણ દવા ન મળે, શું કરવાનું? So in those days, We are depriving of the medicine, we are depriving of the medical facilities. But at the same time, the use of the PPE kit, use of the mask, COVID waste, and all the waste which was generated needs to be managed properly. And we can proudly say that in Gujarat, we are in a position to manage this waste which is generated during the COVID time nicely, and we have facilities which are more than the required at that time. Even as on today, almost we have a capacity of the waste management more than about 3 to 4 times than the waste which is generated today. So we are very well equipped for the waste management, particularly for the biomedical waste. Similarly, for the industrial waste management, there is a need of TSDF sites, incinerators, multiple effective operators. If we talk about the water, then STPs, ETPs, all these things are required, and Gujarat is heading and marching in this environment management infrastructure and occupying the prominent place in the country. Not only that, the municipal waste and other plastic waste, which are the two prime important waste if we talk about the waste management, because it is a contributing municipal waste and industrial waste and plastic waste. These wastes are contributing almost 90% of the waste in the country. For municipal waste, the rules that have been promulgated by the MOEFCC, almost all the sector, plastic, industrial waste management, there is a rules. But the mentality of the people regarding not in my backyard, that mentality needs to be changed. People have to come forward and they have to manage their own waste. Presently, we are looking at the municipal waste in a silo: green waste, wet waste, dry waste. Only that much we are looking at, but nobody is looking at the waste which is toxic, which is generated from the household. That is the tube lights which contain the mercury. Empty cans of the pesticide which we are used for heating of the cockroaches and mosquitoes and all, that is also a pesticides. Toothpaste which contains the fluoride. So all this type of waste needs to be properly handled and it should be required to be properly disposed. Presently what we are finding, it is going in with along with the municipal waste, and because of the lack of the proper management in the municipal solid waste management facilities, that type of waste is leaching and going into the ground and causing the groundwater pollution. Similarly, the plastic waste, the generation of the plastic waste has reached to a peak during this COVID. Because whatever the, if you see the PPE kits and the mask, may I have that mask please? Do you think this mask is of a paper or anything? No, this is a plastic. This material is plastic. It is made up of a plastic, and that is why India, which was deficit in the having the mask and PPE kit, because of the vision of the Prime Minister and awareness which he has created, India has now become a surplus and exporting the mask and PPE kits. But this is generating the plastic waste and needs to be properly disposed. So I hope that this workshop will deliberate on this type of issues, management of the waste. At this juncture, I would also like to highlight on the e-waste. E-waste is a waste which is generated from the use of the electronics items, but not only the electronic items. It also contains the white goods. White goods means refrigerator, air conditioner, and other appliances that we are using. Nowadays we are, earlier if you talk about the oven, there is a knob. it is a mechanical thermostat control. But nowadays the ovens and other appliances come with a digital display. Wherever the digital display comes, electronics comes into the picture. Then PCB comes into the picture. Heavy metals comes into the picture. When we discard this, all this material, metals going into the waste. So the government has also promulgated the rules for this, and this e-waste which is generated, not only this type of waste but also the cables, wires, that is also a part of that. Computers, body of the computer, chips in the computers, screen, TV, all these things are required to be managed at the end of the life. But we Indian are very much in recycling. I will give you a classic example. If you have a mobile, if father is fond of a mobile, of a high-end mobile, then when the new mobile model comes, he pass on that mobile to his child. And after the child is going for a new mobile, then that mobile goes to a mother. Then that mobile goes to a servant to her, his or her child. So we are a very good recycler, but there is some end to it, and which needs to be recycled properly. There should be a proper collection mechanism. Here in our country and in our state, we have rag pickers and other poor people who can be elevated, who can be trained in this aspect, and we can uplift these local people in our surroundings for this type of management of the waste. With regard to the plastic, it is a prime dream of our Prime Minister, and PM Sir has given us a slogan for Swachh Bharat mission and plastic free India. And recently the rules comes effective from the 1st of the October, 30th September was the last date. The thickness of the plastic for the carry bag, which was earlier 20 micron, raised to 50 micron and now 75 micron. There will be a blanket ban on the single-use plastic, 10 items prescribed from the next June or July. So all these things, we have to keep ourselves aware out of all these things. We have to manage our waste. We have to stop using these prohibited items. Here we are using this plastic bottle, but in this type of seminar, in public places, gathering, if we could avoid this use of the plastic bottle, I think that is also a need of the time. So with this I conclude my address. Thank you very much, and I thank you, Saket, for calling me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. What all you addressed at this point of time was something which does not require a huge delegation or something. It is something which individually we can work on and we can definitely figure out. And now with this, I request our dignitaries on the dais to light the lamp and inaugurate officially this 10th National Conference on Waste Management. Nani sir, our guest of honor, to address our audience with a speech.
Friends, very good morning to all of you. dignitaries on the dais, Sri Shah Sahib, Mr. Dharmendra Joshi, and friends. It's a privilege to be with you this morning. It's actually after March 2020 that I am making the first public appearance. All the time we were dealing with the Government of India, World Bank, United Nations, all online. So when Dharmendra Bhai told me that this is a conference, I was happy in a way that since things have improved, there is an opportunity to meet young faces here. And I am so happy to meet you all who are so keen to protect the environment. So let us share some views and take home something which may help improving the quality of life of the people in this country. Well, friends, solid waste management, biomedical waste management, hazardous waste management, plastic waste management, e-waste management, all these wastes have been posing a serious problem in the country. From times immemorial, municipal authorities were made responsible from the beginning to manage waste, and in more than 300 years of their existence, they could not manage the waste. Can there be a person or agency with experience of 300 years cannot manage their waste? 300 years of experience still low? This is something which is worrying us. This only means that there is no sense of commitment. What is lacking is commitment, that we want to do something and achieve some results. We became independent in 47. The successive governments gave thrust to development. Industrial development, economic development, agricultural development, all sectors we made a lot of efforts and have achieved several milestones and a very good progress. But in this effort, all these efforts of development, what we missed was protection of environment. Protection of environment, pollution control took a back seat. And what happened with the result of that neglect? We polluted the environment, we polluted our air, polluted our water resources, polluted even the soil. And we are in a situation where we have to undo the harm caused. Otherwise, we are leaving the world much worse for our next generations to come. All these years, waste management has remained neglected. Government of India felt somewhere around 96, 97 that it is time to frame rules to regulate the waste management. Otherwise, things are going out of hand. And ultimately, with the Supreme Court's intervention in 96, 97, 98, a Supreme Court committee report where I was fortunately the member to draft the report of the Supreme Court committee in 99. Solid waste management rules came in 2000. And other rules, biomedical waste came in 98 and the rules followed. So between the later half of 1990s and first half of 2000, we had a set of rules to manage the waste scientifically. But you can frame rules. The implementation is most important. And that requires sense of commitment and an enforcement mechanism. The municipal authorities, by nature, they would be more interested in development, and the decision makers again did not consider solid waste management or waste management as their priority. So subjects still continue to remain neglected. Pollution control boards, which were charged with the responsibility of ensuring the implementation of rules, had also their limitations. They had a lot of responsibilities. How many municipal authorities they will prosecute? They will have to prosecute all the municipalities for failure. I remember a case of Karnataka, sir, when 7 municipal commissioners were ordered to be prosecuted by personal name for failure. The government had to withdraw that order. They thought that how many commissioners will prosecute because everybody has failed. If 1 or 2 fail, it's okay. But if every municipality fails to perform, we have to look back. What is wrong? Are the rules not implementable, or they are not interested in doing it? What needs to be done? Ultimately, the situation continued to be dismal, and we could see for 15 years after the rules were promulgated, say from 2000 to 2014-15, the situation was not that satisfactory. I happened to study the impact of implementation of rules soon after 3 years of the first rules of 2000, and I found that the implementation was 1%, 2%, 3%, after the deadline of completing 100%. So if we say that you will do this by the end of this year, and if you review that position and you are at 1, 2 or 3% in treatment and disposal, it's a shameful affair. That what are we ultimately leading to? So we have to see that how do we address these issues effectively, that we can really do what is expected from us by virtue of law and by the decision makers. It was, I must say, that during the period of 13 onwards, it was felt that there is a time need to review the law. All that we have framed in early 1999, 98, 2000, 2001 and all that needs to review. And let us see how we can make the rules more effective so that they can be implemented and enforced. So, a new set of rules were framed in March and April 2016. The process started in 2013-14 and by 16 they were all promulgated, all in the month of March and April. And now those set of rules are in progress. The most important aspect in these rules was the waste generator was made responsible. So far it was felt that it's only the municipality should do something. But it was felt that the person who generates waste should also be made answerable. He has to perform his duty and the authorities have to take necessary action. So all the players in the game were involved, right from the ministry to a man who is generating the waste, to see that the rules are enforced. So new rules came forward. I was fortunate, I was the author of the rules of 2016 for solid waste management, and we have those rules being implemented today in the country. Friends, I must say to the credit of the present government that what, say for example, the government of India came up with a big support to the municipalities, having felt that things are not happening in 2005. December 2005, government of India came up with JNNURM, Jawaharlal Nehru Urban Renewal Scheme, to support the local authorities. Now, they must be given money, support, equipment so that they can improve the systems. So also the rules came that now we must support them through the Finance Commission grants to the states so that the municipalities can get financial support. A very good beginning was made. But again, the amount was so small. 5,000 rupees for India under the scheme of supporting under the Finance Commission is a peanut. It was a good beginning, but it was a peanut. The amount which came up under JNRM was also good money to support the local bodies, and local bodies took an advantage. But hats off to the current government. They came up with a very major program which really meets the need of the country. They came with Swachh Bharat Mission, as just now pointed out by Shah Sahib. On 2nd October 2014, Swachh Bharat Mission was made operational. Today we are in the 7th year. We have completed 7 years. But look at the impact of that group. It was made a public program, not just a program of government. It became a public program. And I am a personal witness to this because I have moved in the states to see what is really happening on the field. I have moved in villages, cities, towns, and saw what is really happening on the field. And it is amazing to see that in 67 years of independence, we could have 38% population having toilets till 2014. Between 14 and 2020, we achieved 100%. Just imagine, every 1% after 90 is an impossibility, very difficult. But from 38%, there was a leap jump and the entire country was revolutionized and we have toilets in every house. This is unimaginable success of the government of India, I must say, and the credit entirely goes to the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who went from Gujarat and who is leading the country. Excellent work done by him, and this has shown the way to the country that if you are determined, your commitment at the political level, at the highest level, nothing can prevent you from achieving the desired goals. Friends, that provision of Swachh Bharat Mission Phase 1 focused on eliminating open defecation, which was the order of the day in the rural areas and also in urban areas. We used to see on the streets people defecating. Now it's not happening. Things have improved to such an extent that it has become a matter of the past. The phase 2 has now come. And this phase is focusing on the subject of our concern, is solid and liquid waste management. 1,41,600 crores are earmarked for this purpose, for these two subjects of solid waste and liquid waste management in the country to support improvement of waste management. This is going to take the things forward in next 5 years. And this is the time where we all must put our energies together and ensure that this money does not go waste. This money is optimally utilized, and we improve the systems and technologies which will help putting right kind of systems in place. Solid waste management, as he rightly pointed out, and plastic waste is a major quantity of waste generated in the country. Plastic waste so far was a part of solid waste, but to give more trust to plastic waste, it has been separated out from solid waste, but the management continues to be the almost same so far the cities are concerned. Solid waste generation, we produce about 1,70,000 tons of waste per day. I am talking of urban areas, not the rural. We have 7,935 cities, towns and urban centers in India. They produce on an average 400 to 450 grams of waste per day, per capita per day. We are far better than many Western world where they are generating 2 kg, 2.5 kg, 1 kg, 1.5 kg per capita per day. We are much lower, fortunately. Therefore, the total quantity of waste to be handled is low, though our population is very high. So what we are handling today, as per the latest data of the Central Pollution Control Board, 1,55,000 tons of waste per day. As such, it's about 65 million tons per year which we have to handle. Now, this waste has to be collected from homes. What was the situation 20 years ago? You will be surprised. I will not name the chairman. I had asked one chairman who was very popular, very efficient, and awarded for the best services. I asked him, how do you manage your solid waste? Are you doing well? He said, I do excellent work. I said, very good. Could you explain? What do you do? So he said, my citizens dispose of their waste on the streets every day in the morning. So first thing, citizens dispose of waste on the streets. He was fine with it. And then my sweepers collect the waste from the streets. They take it to a dustbin. My tractor and vehicle goes, picks up from there and puts it at a dump site. He thought this is the best management of waste. Everything is, and he considered to be the best service. But I don't blame him. This is what my many commissioners also believe, many senior officials believe, health officers believe. This is the only thing to be done. What was the problem? Your lack of knowledge, lack of understanding, lack of technological advances. Where they were following the old, outdated systems of waste management. And now where we are, with the new rules in 2000, followed by 2016, efforts made by the officials between 2000 to 2014 and 14 till 21, we have been able, you will be happy to know, there are 88,805 wards in India. I am talking of urban areas. When I call ward, means a part of the city, a election ward. It is not monitored for city-wise, it is monitored per ward, from center, for the whole country. This is the beauty of management. You are not saying what is happening in your Gujarat state or Maharashtra or Punjab. What is happening in this ward of Ahmedabad today, and that is the data with the government of India. And what they came to know, that out of 88,800 and odd wards, 85,900 wards have started, have discontinued street collection and are collecting from homes, door-to-door collection. This is an amazing achievement. Door-to-door collection, which was not even heard of in those days 20 years ago, is now a order of the day. 85,000 wards in the country are collecting from homes. 16 states have 100% door-to-door collection. Not a single house is missed out. When I say single missed out, I don't mean literally. The system is so developed that it is there. It may be even today in Ahmedabad, some houses are not covered. But the fact remains is that this country could reach 98% collection of waste today, every day. House to house collection in 85,000 wards out of 88,000 wards today. And what happened from the processing of waste? Till 2014-15, when I was looking at the development, and Pollution Control Board monitors every year. They produce a report every year, what happened in the country. It's a very reliable report. I'm sorry to say the reports given by the municipal authorities to the Government of India and what is given by Pollution Control Board has a wide variation, because PCB looks into more details. They go into details and then report that this is the factual position, though sometimes out of enthusiasm, government may report much better results, but in fact it is not true. So the performance used to be 15 to 20% treatment. Now the rule was, I am talking of 2000, 100% treatment of waste, biodegradable. And biodegradable waste is to the order of more 47 to 55%. Smaller towns, 60, 70, 75%. Big cities like Mumbai, Delhi, 35, 40%, because other waste take over. So with this percentage of and quantum of waste, the treatment was ranging in 15 to 25%. And today we have reached 70%. As of 2021, we are at 70% treatment of waste. So when we are talking of 1,70,000 tons of waste, or as per the latest CPCB report, 1,55,000 tons of waste being collected, 30% waste is not known where does it go even today. The treatment is taking place at 70%. So landfills are limited, waste still goes to open dump sites. And you know in Ahmedabad, those who have seen the Ahmedabad Pirana site, you will know that it's a huge heap of 55 meters high. Delhi has 3 such sites. Many cities, I have visited most of the cities in India, bigger ones, and I find that this system is very, very pathetic. We are just having still the huge, huge hills of waste which need to be bioremediated and handled appropriately. So we are today fortunate that we have 100% collection almost, 98%. We are having 70% treatment, but still miles to go. We have to treat 100%. There is no way out. You cannot allow your biodegradable waste to go into the water bodies or to go into the landfills. The rules are very clear. Efforts need to be made. So we all concerned with the municipal authorities need to think, how do we improve this performance? How do we ensure the timeline is over? 2016 had a timeline of 5 years, maximum 5 years. That timeline is also over. Basically it was 3 years, but for even remediation it was 2 more years. That timeline is also over. So we are at 70% of compliance in regard to treatment. But what the rules further say? This is all biodegradable waste. We are producing paper, plastic, metal, glass, all recyclables. What happens to them? Thanks to our rag picker friends, there are more than 2 million rag pickers. More than 1 crore people surviving only on the waste picked up from the streets. They are the friends of the society. They pick up the waste from the streets, from the bins, from all the places, and put back into recycling chain. But what they collect is 7 to 10%. So what happens to the remaining waste? It all lands up at the dump sites. So we are losing a very precious material which goes back to the landfills. Not landfills, the dump sites, open dump sites. And as I will say, plastic waste, 100 years, 200 years, 500 years, no decay. It remains where it is and creates an environmental pollution and the soil cannot stabilize. So these are the serious problems we are facing in the country. And what is happening to the oceans? Now 7, 8 countries have come together to save our oceans. They say plastic is entering the oceans. It's microplastic is getting into it. We are using the cosmetics. You know the women use the cosmetics on the face. They look beautiful, but it contains the small, small particles of plastic with glazes. And you use that plastic and that goes into the water bodies. That plastic comes in the way and this plastic is eaten by the fishes, and that fish we eat and we get plastic into the system. So what are we doing? So it's a very major challenge to the international community that if we do not protect our nation, our oceans, we are going to have serious problems. So now the situation is that we have to ensure that plastic waste is taken out from the stream, rightly pointed out by Member Secretary Saab, that from first next day, after first 50 micron is raised to 75 microns. Several items are going to be discontinued, first use items. So therefore the plastic use will be reduced. And the major problem caused is the throw plastic. Use and throw plastic is causing the problem. So the moment these activities become very strong, our problem of plasticness will get reduced. Plastic is not a bad thing. The problem is if you dispose it of, it's not degradable and doesn't degrade in 1, 2 or 5 years. It takes years and years beyond our lifetime that it will degrade. Therefore, we have to ensure that this does not come into the society. We have to keep it out, whatever usefulness of the material may be. So friends, so we have the problem of plastic. We look at the situation of liquid waste. What are we doing in the liquid waste? We are generating about 61,000 MLD of liquid waste every day. 61,000 MLD every day. And out of which how much we treat? 37%. As of today. 37% of liquid waste is treated. So that means 63% still goes into the water bodies untreated. So what are we doing? Human species, all dirt and dust, everything is still going into water bodies. So how are we going to protect our water bodies? And who is responsible for it? River Ganges, River Yamuna. How much amount has been spent on this under the River Action Plan, Ganga Action Plan, Yamuna Action Plan? Crores and crores have been spent on these plans, and Ganga is still polluted. Because more and more population comes up, more and more dirty water gets in. Treatment plants are set up, but the waste generation is so much that their treatment plant becomes inadequate. So with the number of treatment plants in the country, there are 36,000 treatment plants, small and big in the country. Out of them, about 12,000 are not working. Whatever are working, 27,000 treatment plants, they are treating out of their 36,000, out of their 37%, about 25% of this. So still 75% goes into the water bodies and open spaces. It's a matter of concern for all of us. There is no way out. We cannot allow the wastewater to be just disposed of untreated. And it is the work of our people who are with science and technology, with the industry, to come up. There is a big business opportunity. You must grab the opportunity, set up the facilities and use the technologies that are acceptable. We should not follow blindly the Western technology. We should follow the technologies which are sustainable, which can work in the country, and we are in a position to sustain those efforts. And this water must be treated. Gujarat state has been a pioneer in leading the area. I was seeing way back in 1990s. Then Gujarat was the only state which will say we will have the treatment centralized facility. We will have the TSDF, we will dispose of the industrial waste. Otherwise, no state could ever think about it, how to dispose of industrial waste. This was done by the Gujarat. Gujarat took the lead in the country. So therefore, there is a need to very, very strictly ensure that wastewater is treated. And fortunately, under Swachh Bharat mission, a big trust is given to wastewater treatment. And therefore, next 5 years are with us to see that we ensure the treatment of this water, and this water is no more allowed to go into the water bodies. Industrial hazardous waste. Gujarat is a place of hazardous waste generation. We are leaders in that. Though we are pioneers, but we are leaders of generating industrial waste. There are 68,000 hazardous waste industrial units in India. They are generating hazardous waste. Out of which, and they are producing how much waste? 10.76 million tons of waste every year. 10.76 million tons of waste every year. And what do we do with that waste? Fortunately, 50% of it, 5.26 million tons of that waste is being recycled, utilized by others. There are 1,528 recyclers. There are 90 industries, cement industries who take this. There are about 512 reusers. They take the material. All of them collectively use about 5.26 million tons of waste. And another 3 million tons of waste is being used by 45 centralized TSDF and about 136 captive TSDF in the country. So what is left? About 2.15 million tons not accounted for. So what do we do with that? Hazardous waste. 2.15 million tons of hazardous waste is still not treated. Sir, this is not done. Hazardous waste has to be handled. As you rightly brought out, our house generates hazardous waste. We just don't bother. And still not a single city can claim that I am managing domestic hazardous waste, in spite of law having made mandatory that every municipal authority will set up hazardous waste collection centers and in consultation with PCB will dispose it off at a TSDF. Not happening. This is the gap we have to address. So we have to address all these gaps. Without that, it's not possible to manage it. So we have to bridge the gap of solid waste management. We have to bridge the gap of liquid waste management. We have to bridge this gap of hazardous waste management. And about plastic, 34 million tons of plastic every year. Plastic waste is coming every year. Out of which about 50% is being recycled, reused, goes to different systems, and still 50% plastic is in the problem. It is still going untreated, not collected, goes to dump sites, goes to water bodies, goes to sea and everything. And what happens to the e-waste? 90%, it's increasing every year. Every house is disposing of e-waste. As you rightly said, though we are big recyclers, but still ultimately the last piece goes to the dump yard. And this e-waste comes to a person. And in our country, 90% of this waste is handled by informal sector, who do not know, who have no technology. They handled it in a very unsophisticated, unscientific manner, causing a lot of problems. And these heavy metals and all these issues are again a big threat to our health and environment. So friends, you have before you major challenges. Lot has been done under Swachh Bharat mission. Hats off to central government and state governments and the PCBs. But there are miles to go. We cannot rest. We have to work relentlessly and see that we manage these situations. What can we do? What we need to do? Till 20th century, we had a thinking. Collect waste, dispose it off, either at landfill or incinerate, finished matter is over. The waste is managed. Time has changed now. People thinking has changed. World is moving towards zero waste. The whole concept is moving towards zero waste. But how do you go to zero waste? It's not a joke. You are today putting 70, 80, 90% of waste at the open dumps, and we want to talk of zero waste. It is Sweden. It has already achieved 99% diversion rate. Only 1% of its waste goes to landfill. 99% waste is recycled, reused and converted into potential uses. European countries have already reached 80% plus diversion rate. Why can't India do it? We are a poor country. We have a lot of potential. We have a huge number of people who would like to earn their living. Why not we use the waste appropriately? So, what we have to do? We have to adopt the principle of circular economy. This is the main thrust of the world now, that waste is not to be treated as a waste. Please remember, waste is not to be treated as waste, it has to be treated as a resource. This mindset has to change. Waste is a resource. All that we produce, look at the waste, our Indian composition, 50% biodegradable. Why should it go to landfill? It can be converted into compost, it can be converted into power, utilizing the biomethanation route. All that can be used. Therefore, there is no reason why a ton of this waste can go to landfill. Law has prohibited it. We need to ensure it. Then look at the plastic. 12 to 15% is plastic. 8 to 10% is paper. Metal, glass. All these things combined come to 95%. If you can handle this 95%, you can only allow 5% to go to landfill because you do not know what to do with it. Because it may be mainly dust and debris, which you don't need to do anything. So our entire effort has to be to see how do we segregate this waste and utilize it for good of the people. So our entire mindset has to change, that segregate the waste at source. Friends, I repeat, there is no substitute to segregation at source. We must segregate the waste at source. If you mix it, then why somebody else should segregate it? Why can't I do my job as a waste generator to put two waste in separate bins? I am not asking you to go like Japan and put into 14 bins. Just separate paper, plastic, metal, glass in one bin and food waste in second bin and domestic hazardous in third bin. That's all. If you can keep these three segregations, we are winning the game. And this is what we have to educate the citizens. Segregate, segregate, segregate. Prevent the waste to the extent possible. Reuse the waste to the extent possible. Your waste can be useful to somebody else, give it to him. Create those centers of reuse. What cannot be reused need to be recycled. And therefore we have a huge potential of recycling. So treat organic waste, reuse and recycle all the non-biodegradable waste. Set up the facilities for ensuring this, and only reject which is not usable can go to landfill. So friends, the law mandates that every municipal authority must have material recovery facility. It is mandated. For every 20 square kilometers, there has to be an MRF. And therefore, we have to have these facilities. Every city should have an MRF to collect the material, segregate it, and put back into industry. If we set up the material recovery facilities, a city of Ahmedabad, which generates 4,000 tons of waste per day, will be able to divert at least 1,500 tons of waste to an MRF. And this can go back to the industry, this can go back. So all the cities can have this advantage of diverting the waste from going to landfill. It can go back to the industry. We will get paper, plastic, metal, glass, everything back into the industry. Industry will thrive, economy will thrive. This waste will not go to landfill and we will save us a lot of economic resources. Therefore, our thrust has to be on, I would insist, segregation and material recovery. Use the principle of circular economy instead of linear waste management. We have to go into circular management. All the things which are usable, it's a principle of reduce, reuse, recycle and recover. If this principle is followed, we will be able to divert our waste to a limited extent, and only a small amount will go to landfill. All of you are from, most probably from Gujarat, I believe. What is the land value in Ahmedabad? Minimum 20,000 in a poor area and 3 lakh rupees in this area per square meter. And we dump the waste. If I use 1 square meter of land for dumping the waste, how much waste I can dump? The waste density is 400 to 500 kg meter cube. Therefore, 1 ton of waste will require 2 meter cube land. 1 ton of waste. And on 1 square meter, we can maximum take it 7-8 meter height. So what I will be putting is about 3 tons of waste on 1 square meter. So if I use 20,000 worth land, I am disposing of only 3 tons of waste. Means what happened? 7,000 rupees per ton. I have wasted permanently, not one time. For just disposing of 1 ton of waste, I say I am putting in a landfill. I am creating a big crime. I am wasting land worth 7,000 rupees by just putting 1 ton of waste. And we don't recognize it. If I treat the waste, I will be doing it in 2,000, 3,000 rupees. Instead of that, I am paying 7,000 rupees and not treating anything and creating a major environmental problem. Therefore, it is essential for us to very seriously think that landfill is a last resort. Landfill is a last resort. It should only be done for the waste which cannot be treated, which cannot be recycled. Therefore, it is minimized. We are saying waste to energy. Yes, it's very essential that we have to ensure that the waste which cannot be treated, biodegradable, has to be treated, recyclable, has to be recycled, what cannot be recycled has to be used for energy recovery. We cannot put it at dump site. There are so many waste which cannot be recycled. It can go for energy recovery by adopting waste to energy technologies. So we have to be very choosy that biodegradable waste by composting, advanced technologies, not old technologies. By going for advanced technologies of composting, by going for biomethanation technologies, see that the organic waste is treated. Recyclable should go for recycling industry. We have to use the technology internet space, artificial intelligence is the buzzword of the day. Artificial intelligence will give away how things can happen. So we have to find the way. The artificial intelligence going to help us. Internet-based systems are available, lot of data is available from over the globe. We can use that data. We can use the data analytica. All these things can be used. That will guide us and show us what are the appropriate technology we can use. Don't follow blindly the technology of faith. Composting, we talked 40 years ago, and today also we talk. Many plants have failed. What improvements are required? We find the improvements. And that takes us to the advanced technologies, improvement in technology, and see that that same technology is effectively handled by us by making some improvements so that there are no problems of odor, there are no problems of life, there are no problems of management of that waste, and we can get optimum out of it. So friends, I would not take much of your time. I would not go into those artificial intelligence and how we can use it. It's an issue subject can be dealt with separately. But there are newer and newer technologies available in the world. We should look at them. See what works for the country. Adopt those technologies. But remember, you have to forget centralized systems. Go to the extent possible decentralized systems, local systems. Go for segregation. Go for material recovery. Keep in mind all the time that waste is a resource, it's not a waste, it's not a waste, it's not a waste. It's a resource. Salvage the resource and take optimum out of it. This only will make the thing sustainable, improve our economy, and give a good quality of life to the people for which we all are striving for. Thank you very much.